Hi and welcome to another video. This is going to be my first Q&A video in dog handling. Out on my social medias, my Instagram and my Facebook, in like the stories, I put a question up and asked if anyone had some questions for a Q&A. Just something different, just something a bit different to the other videos that I've been doing. I've got half a dozen questions which cover sort of different aspects and different parts. So what we'll do is we'll run through that. My question for this video, for you to answer, is as an SIA security guard, what do you have to have on show whilst you're working, no matter what the situation? Put it down in the comments below what you think it is. Okay, question 1. Now this was asked by 2 different people, I think in 2 different ways. So I think this, if you're asking if I'm going to train other dogs, as in am I going to train other people's dogs, then no, that's not something I'm looking into at the moment. I've got into this part of the job and I'm enjoying it and I want to learn a lot about it. But that's not to say that in some time when I get a bit more experience in this and maybe go through the courses, that maybe one day I wouldn't want to, maybe I would want to start doing some form of training or have my own sort of security guard in school, but I think I'm a long way off from that. And then the second part, or the second question, is am I going to train a second German Shepherd? So now the easy answer to that is no, but it's also a yes. So I don't have the room where I live to have a second German Shepherd, or where I'm moving to I don't have the room for a second German Shepherd. The house would be, well, the apartment would be in utter chaos. But there does come a time where you have to bring in another dog in order to train when the dog that you've got is going to start easing down or is looking to retiring soon. So what I'll probably do is I'll probably have the dog I've got now until he's about 5, and then maybe introduce a puppy, and then by the time my dog is 7, the other one will be 2, and hopefully the good thing about giving the dog a couple of years is that you can let him do it at his own pace. Obviously with him I didn't rush it, but I've done it all in 6 months, where if you get a dog from puppy I can spend 2 years knowing that I've got him to work. I don't have to rush the new dog in because I've already got one to work. I can let him come at his own pace and get to the standard on his own. So no, I won't be training a second German Shepherd yet, but yes, when I feel like he's 2 years from retiring, I will get another puppy, and I will train that one up as and when, and then when he's ready to retire, the other one's ready to step straight in. So I won't have that longevity of not having a dog to use. Obviously, if something happened to him and he got injured and I needed a dog quicker, then I would have to get one that's fully trained and ready to go. I wouldn't be able to take 6 months off work in order to train a dog to get to the standard. So that would probably be a case where I would get a dog that was already trained, pay the extra money and slot him in straight away and start working. Does it matter if your dog is pedigree or its background's unknown? Is going back to one of my previous videos, I can't remember which one it was now. I think it was the how much video. I think if you're getting the dog as a pet, pedigree is quite nice, but obviously you pay for the pedigree. When I said in the how much video that you can get a dog that is a rescue dog and bring it into this. Now my trainer was in the army in Ireland, and all of the dogs that they used over there in the dog unit, they were unwanted dogs. So they were kind of like rescue dogs that they then not saved, because there's not necessarily they was going to be euthanized, but they've then got the dog and given it a purpose and a reason for it to be kept, or a reason for it to live. So rescue dogs, you're not always going to get a background, you're not always going to have the hip score, you're not always going to have its pedigree, etc. So no, it's not essential if it's pedigree or if it's a rescue dog, or whether it's just a dog that you get off of a breeder. it doesn't really matter. I mean, the most important thing is that you believe that it's going to be able to do the job. The thing is with pedigrees is they're normally pet backgrounds, which is what I had with him, and it just makes that bringing it a pet to protection that much harder. So if I was going to advise anything, is that I would advise getting a dog from a working dog background, so from a litter of puppies, that dogs that already do this, so they kind of have it in their DNA that for you just to bring out. So since I started doing this, I'd say that the thing I've most looked for and appreciated from my trainer was honesty. Now obviously you want to see their affiliations and their accreditations to know that they're qualified to do the work or do the training, but I think when it comes to a one-on-one thing, you're kind of looking for someone that's going to be honest. So like I say, the first few times that I turned up, he said to me that there's a good chance that my dog wouldn't be able to do the job or be able to pass the grade, but he said that he would give me the opportunity in order to do it, and he gave me a time span in order to get the dog to a certain point. And I think that's important, to get some honesty. Now I'm not saying that there are dog trainers out there that will just keep you and train a dog that they know is not going to make the grade just to make money, but I think it's nice that if on your first day your trainer gives you the hard truths, and I'd rather him said at the start, look, I don't think he's going to be able to do it, because then that sort of pushed me and made me realise that I was going to have to put in the extra effort. If he had said, no, he could be good, we'll see how it goes, then possibly I would have taken it not a bit easier, but I think a lot of people could then take it a bit easier, and instead of doing the course in 6 months or training the dog in 6 months, it could take 8-10 months, and for a trainer that could be an extra £80 a month that they're getting, knowing that the dog in the end is not actually going to make the grade. So I'd say honesty is the one thing that I would look for in a trainer, outside obviously its accreditations and it's kind of its history in as being a security dog trainer. Now I like this question, so I've actually thought quite hard about this one as well. So I think if shepherds weren't a breed, what dog would I have for protection? Now there's probably 3 main ones. There'll be a Belgian Malinois, a Rottweiler or a Doberman, and I've thought long and hard about it, because if you're talking out and out protection dog, so if you said to me, right, you've got to go and man this place with a dog, which dog do you want? 9 times out of 10 I'll say I want the Belgian Malinois. If you look at the dog, they look the business. From what I've seen in training, they are the business. But the only thing that puts me off a Belgian Malinois, and I'm sure people would slate me in the comments if they own them, is that I don't see them, because you have to remember that I have to take this dog home and it has to be able to interact with family, friends, people that come round. And from the stories that I've heard with Belgian Malinois, they're great protection dogs, but sometimes they don't switch off. I've heard of Belgian Malinois breaking out of the backs of cars and killing deers. I've heard of people that have to man an area that is also open to the public, and they can't use their Belgian Malinois in certain situations because it just can't be trusted around the public. So if you're talking out and out protection dog, then yes, I'd say Belgian Malinois. But for me, from what I've heard and what I've seen, I'm sure it's different. I'm sure a lot of people have them interacting at home. I don't see how I could take that and then be able to integrate it with family life and feel comfortable inviting people round and being 100% confident that the Belgian Malinois wouldn't turn. So if we're talking about which one I would have, because obviously I have to integrate it with home, I'd say the Rottweiler. I believe that a bit like a dog always looks like its owner. I mean, obviously I'm 6'2", 6'3", and 10 stone. If I have a Rottweiler, it doesn't quite match up. So I'd say out of the other two, I'd probably go for a Doberman. They're quite good. They look quite good. They're quick. They have the bite. They have the confidence. The other thing with Rottweilers is I'd say that their movement and their speed is not quite as quick as I would like it. So I think as an out-and-out protection dog, it would be Malinois. But as a protection dog that I could integrate with family life and home life, I'd say probably a Doberman. But I'll always have a German Shepherd because I think they're the ones that fit into the way I want to live my life. I think that's the way they fit in the best. I think if I was going to go down the sniffing route, I would get myself a Spaniel. Now, I know my girlfriend likes Spaniels. She was more for a Spaniel than a German Shepherd when we was getting our dog now. And I would like to go down. I would like to look down the avenue of going down the sniffer dog route. The only thing that kind of puts me off, again, talking about family life and that, is that okay, I've got my protection dog now. Yes, I could go and get myself a sniffer dog, so I would have my protection dog, and the girlfriend would also have a Spaniel. Although it'd be a working dog, it's a dog that she'll be able to walk a bit easier, a dog that will probably cuddle a bit more. I mean, he's not much of a cuddler, but then my issue would then come in 3 years time when he turns 5 and I want to get another German Shepherd. I've then got 2 German Shepherds and a Spaniel. Now, as you can imagine, that sounds like chaos. I mean, Spaniels are pretty hyperactive. He's quite hyperactive. I know he'll probably calm down as he gets a bit older, but to then bring another German Shepherd into that sounds like chaos. So ideally I'd want to get a Spaniel, but the likelihood that I'll be able to do that is quite small, just for the fact of at some point we will have to have 3 dogs, and that would be sort of a fully grown German Shepherd, a middle-aged Spaniel, and then a brand new German Shepherd. And to me that just sounds like utter chaos, but we'll see. You never know. I haven't had much dealings with the police yet, but I can go off what people have told me, and probably from what I would, if I was a police officer, would I respect a dog handler as well? And I would say that they would respect you if you're professional and you don't cause them any extra hassle. Now, this goes back to obviously like my boot etiquette, like I said, and let's say something happened and you was at a site and your dog's away because whoever it is has run off, and the police turn up and the police say, well, would you mind just coming and doing a patrol with us and just see if your dog detects on anyone else? If you then open your boot and the dog comes flying out and wants to tear every policeman's head off, it's going to be quite hard to get respect. I'm not saying they won't respect you, but it's then quite hard to get respect. So I'd say that the police would respect you as a dog handler if you're professional and you have control. And I think they respect you because at the end of the day, us doing this job probably saves them a lot of extra call outs. A lot of sites, I can imagine that if there wasn't dog handlers on there, people would take the chance, and then they'd be constantly, the patrol cars would be constantly called to the same place a lot of the time. So I think they respect us in terms of we probably cut their calls down every night and saved them a lot of work. But I think in terms of would a police dog handler respect us in the same way they respect other police dog handlers? Probably not. I'd say this goes back to the kind of dentist doctor kind of thing, where a dentist says, I'm a doctor, but the doctor says, no, you're not a doctor, you're a dentist. So the police go through a lot more training than we do, and much more vigorous, as you can imagine, and their dogs are higher trained. So we're level 2, I believe police dogs are level 4. So would one police dog handler respect just a security dog police handler? Yes, to a certain degree, but not to the same as another police police dog handler. So they were my 6 questions for the Q&A. Now I'd like to hear your answers to any of them, especially the protection dog. I'd like to know what your preferred breed is, and if that breed wasn't available, which breed would you go for? I'd say the 4 main ones are a German Shepherd or Shepherds. I think they have Belgian Shepherds as well, Malinois, Rottweilers and Dobermans. So out of them 4, which one is your preference? And if that one wasn't available, what would be your backup? And if you've got any views on anything I've said, if you're a dog handler and you've got probably some answers to some of the questions, I mean, I'd like to say this is all my opinion, and I don't want what I've said about the police to be taken in the wrong way. I respect the police, and I'm sure the police respect us, as long as we're not causing them any hassle. I mean, if a policeman turned up and I've caused an absolute riot because I've got the dog out of the van for no reason, then no, they're not going to respect me. But I respect them, and I think they do respect us to a certain degree. But what I was trying to say is that a police dog handler wouldn't put us with the other police dog handlers because of their training. And the answer to my SIA question of this video is, I asked you what is required by the SIA to have on show whilst you're working, and it is your SIA license. Now you can be in different ways. You can have it on a lanyard like this, so you could have it around your neck. That's on show, and wherever you're working, whoever wants to see it can see it. You'll see you'll see on nightclubs, you'll see bouncers with it on their arm, where they have like the armband, like the football captain's armband, and it'll be slotted in there. Or if you're like me, you get yourself a high vis with a little slot in there where you can just slide it in, and then obviously whilst I'm wearing it, it's on show. If someone wants to see it, they can see it, and I don't have to fumble around to get it out of my wallet. But by the SIA standard, you do have to have it on show whilst you're working, and you can't work without it. So I hope you enjoyed this Q&A. If you've got any questions for me down below, let me know. If you want to follow me on my social media, I'll put my @name here, and what I might try and do is one of these a month, and see if we can get some different questions out, and I hope I answered everyone's questions in that one. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers for watching.